Alright everybody, welcome back to another episode of From the Stands, episode 4. We're going to be recapping the last week of the MLB season, all the games from last Monday until last night. So let's get started with some headlines. Starting us off, the appeal on Nick Castellanos' suspension was denied by Major League Baseball, so he will serve those 2 games in his suspension. MLB cited that his aggressive actions and the fact that he instigated a bench clearing incident. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because there have been plenty of bench clearing incidents in which players were not suspended, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Moving on, Corbin Burnes set the record for the most strikeouts without a walk by a starter with 40 strikeouts without walking any batters. Bo Bichette had a cool moment in Boston. He hit a home run out of Fenway onto Lansdowne Street that landed in front of a gym where his parents met. So the gym is now closed, but back then, that was the place in which his parents met, so cool moment for Bo Bichette. Francisco Lindor hit his first Mets home run, got the first one out of the way, still struggling at the plate, but it's good to get that first home run out of the way. Max Scherzer passed Mike Mussina for 21st on the all-time strikeout list with his 2,814th strikeout. Dinelson Lamet made his Padres return, pitched a few innings and then exited with forearm tightness and was placed on the 10-day IL, so I'm hoping he can come back from that, come back from these injuries, and pitch for the Padres this season. Moving on to my plays of the week, we're going to start off with the Mariners and the Dodgers. Runners on, line shot to third base. Dylan Moore gets up to snag that one to keep the Mariners in the lead, and they will go on to win that game. Mentioned Corbin Burnes earlier. He was having a great start. Runners on, there's a fly ball to left field. Billy McKinney lays out for the diving catch to save some runs and save Corbin Burnes from giving up any runs. Lucas Sims was pitching in the middle of this Diamondbacks Reds game. The rain is pouring, it's tied. He walks in the go-ahead run because it's hard to throw a baseball when it's pouring outside. And then I'm sure you guys might have seen this next clip. He begins to throw out every single ball out of play that is given to him because he can't throw another pitch when it's pouring because it's hard to throw a baseball and make it spin and go where you want when it's pouring. So I think it's just funny with the catcher throwing his arms up and the the umpire just walking and finally giving in, and they suspended the game. The Reds would go on to lose that game, so it wasn't like it was a blowout that they just wanted to get in. Like, it was a close game, and that's how they lost. So I would be upset if I was a Reds fan. More crazy weather with the Rockies and the Astros. Daniel Bard coming in to close the game out in the 9th inning in a snowstorm here, so if it's hard to throw a ball in the rain, it's definitely hard to see a ball when it's snowing, so the Astros would go on to lose this game. Christian Javier of the Astros struck out 8 straight batters to start the game, so look out for him. Padres and the Dodgers is must-watch baseball right now. We had this crazy play, ground ball to second base, ball by Cronenworth. He gets it to second base in time for the return throw from Tatis to get the double play. Pivotal play in that game there. The Padres would go on to win that one. Let's talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. He hit 2 home runs in Dodger Stadium against Clayton Kershaw 22 years later to the day that his father hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning, also at Dodger Stadium. So a very cool moment there. And then the next day, Tatis again off of Trevor Bauer, 2 home runs. I'm sure you guys saw the celebrations. He got the one eye closed because of what Bauer did to him in spring training, and then he gets the McGregor walk on the second one there as he's crossing home plate. Let's get on to my games of the week. We're going to start off with the Royals and the Rays. We're going to jump ahead here. The Rays have a 6-3 lead here before Hanser Alberto of the Royals with the 2-run triple makes it a 1-run game. Carlos Santana with the clutch 2-run homer puts the Royals ahead, so it's 7-6 in the 8th, but Randy Arozarena with the double brings in another run to tie this game up, and then Joey Wendell in the 9th, another double, puts the Rays ahead, but the Royals were not done yet. They have a runner on third base. Nicky Lopez with the bunt gets the runner in, so it's now tied, setting it up for Salvador Perez with the walk-off single. The Royals win it 9-8 over the Rays. The Twins and the A's played a crazy game in the midst of the A's winning streak. We're going to jump ahead here. Nelson Cruz with his 2nd home run in the game makes it now 7-5 Oakland. The Twins would get another run on a wild pitch before Jake Cave on a ground ball to second base, brings in the tying run. So it's 7-7 in the sixth. The Twins would take the lead again, so it's now 10-7 after some hits, scoring some runs. Jed Lowry with the 2-run double makes it 10-9 Oakland, and then Matt Olson coming up with a tying run on second base, hits the ball out to left center field. Byron Buxton coming over with the diving catch to keep the Twins ahead in that game. Bottom of the ninth here, runner on third base, 1 out. Matt Chapman lifts the sacrifice fly to tie the game, tying it up at 10-10. And then in the 10th, Byron Buxton, again, after making the catch, it's a go-ahead 2-run home run, so the Twins are up 12-10. In the 10th, Mark Canha reaches on an error at second base, so that would bring in another run. It's now a 1-run game. Ramon Laureano with the ground ball to third base looks like it could be the final play of the game. All Rice has to do is make the throw, and he throws it away to bring in the go-ahead 2 runs to win the game for the A's, and they just keep on winning. The Diamondbacks and the Reds also played a crazy high-scoring game. We're going to jump ahead here. The Diamondbacks have a 4-2 lead. Eugenio Suarez with the 2-run home run to tie it. The Diamondbacks will get a couple runs to go ahead. David Peralta with the base hit, and then a bases-loaded walk makes it 8-4 Arizona. Bottom of the 7th, the Reds are not done yet. Jesse Winker with a 2-run home run. Joey Votto with another home run makes it a 1-run game. And then in the 8th inning, the rookie Jonathan India with the game-tying home run sends it to the 10th inning. We're still tied. Base hit from Josh Rojas makes it 9-8, and then David Peralta with the big 3-run triple brings in 3 more runs to make it 12-8. The Diamondbacks would get 2 more on a home run, so it's now 14-8. The Reds would try to make a comeback here. We've got Votto on, runners on, gets the strikeout to end the game. The Diamondbacks take that one by a final of 14-11 in extra inning. The Astros had a few comebacks against the Angels. We're going to jump to the 7th inning here. Yuli Gurriel with the 2-run home run ties the game at 2. They're going to head to extra innings. David Fletcher with the go-ahead single, so the Angels are on top. Albert Pujols with the RBI single makes it 4-2. And then in the 10th inning, Miles Straw on the ground ball in the infield beats it out to bring in another run. Carlos Correa would tie it up with a sacrifice fly before Robel Garcia with the walk-off singles. The Astros coming back several times against the Angels to win that game. And for my final game of the week, we're going to go with the Padres-Dodgers from last night's crazy game. Dodgers are now up 7-1. Victor Caratini with the 2-run single brings in a couple runs, but still a 7-3 game. Dodgers are ahead. Padres running out of time. 8th inning, Eric Hosmer with the RBI single makes it a 7-4 ball game. And then Jorge Mateo with the ground ball to second base. Looks like it might be a double play, but he beats it out. So it's now a 2-run game heading in the 9th inning. Dodgers are still feeling good. Jimmy Nelson comes in, RBI single by Trent Grisham to make it a 1-run game before Manny Machado jumps him to tie the game up. It's now 7-7. In the 10th inning, the bases are loaded. The Dodgers had so many bases loaded opportunities. Tim Hill strikes out DJ Peters to keep the game tied. Sends it to the 11th. Eric Hosmer with first base open flies out for the sacrifice fly, brings in the go-ahead run, and then Mark Melancon shuts the door on a Padres win. They would take 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers in that series. Time for the performances of the week. We're going to start off with David Peralta. Had a 7 RBI game against that Reds game we talked about earlier. He went 5 for 6, scored 7 RBIs, that go-ahead big 3-run triple, and he also homered in that game. Jacob deGrom had a 9-inning shutout complete game, didn't allow a run, only gave up 2 hits, struck out 15 batters, and then had 2 hits of his own, including an RBI single. Historic performance from deGrom there. He sets the record for the most strikeouts within a pitcher's first 4-game starts to a season with 50 strikeouts. Zach Gallen shut out the Braves in a 7-inning game. He allowed just 1 hit and struck out 6 batters. And then Madison Bumgarner in the second game throws a 7-inning no-hitter. So is it a no-hitter? I think it's a 7-inning no-hitter. I wouldn't call it a no-hitter with 7 strikeouts. So tough doubleheader for the Braves there. They get just 1 hit in those 2 games. Time for the standings watch. We're going to take a look at the American League. The Red Sox still lead the AL East. The Royals still lead the AL Central. Not who we picked to lead those divisions. The A's won their 13th straight game before losing yesterday, but they still lead the American League West. Heading over to the National League, the Reds have lost 7 straight games after sitting atop the NL Central. They are in last place after that 7-game skid. The Mets still lead the East. The Brewers still lead the Central. If you take a look at the West, the Dodgers are still on top. They have a 1-game lead over the Giants, so not really who we expected to be in second place. And then the Padres are now 3 games out after taking 3 of 4 from the Dodgers. Players of the week, we're going to start off with some American League pitchers. Danny Duffy of the Royals, 11 innings pitched, no runs, 16 strikeouts for Danny Duffy. And I'm going to go with Garrett Cole. Pitching was a little light this week. 7 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, just 1 earned run, and allows 3 hits against the Indians. A couple AL hitters. Adolis Garcia, I think I said that right, hit .333 with 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, and a 1.260 OPS. He had a great week. And then Franmil Reyes carries over from last week at .421 with a home run, 2 triples, and he's a big guy. And then 6 RBIs with a 1.292 OPS. In the National League, Jacob deGrom, 9 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts, no runs allowed, just 2 hits. And then Kevin Gausman of the Giants, 14 innings pitched, just 1 earned run allowed with 16 strikeouts. NL hitters, Fernando Tatis Jr., of course, hit .385 with 5 home runs and 7 RBIs. He had a 1.467 OPS that week. And I'm going to go with CJ Cron of the Rockies, hit .450 with 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and a 1.426 OPS. Time for the Rookie Watch. We got some newcomers this week. Kent Emanuel for the Astros made his Major League debut, 8 2/3 innings pitched in relief of Jake Odorizzi, who only faced 1 batter. So crazy out of the bullpen there. He allows just 2 earned runs and 5 strikeouts. That was his Major League debut, and he basically threw a complete game. So that's super impressive. Trevor Rogers of the Marlins is having a great season. He's now 2-1 with a 1.64 ERA. He's got 31 strikeouts and just 22 innings pitched. And then another Marlin, Jazz Chisholm, is hitting .270 with 4 home runs, 7 RBIs. He's got a 904 OPS, so look out for him. He's having a great season. In the American League, Michael Kopech is 2-0 with a 1.72 ERA. He's got 27 strikeouts and 15 2/3 innings pitched. I know I talked about him last week. He's making starts now. He's having a great season. And then Luis Patino makes his Rays debut. He was the big piece that came back, the big pitcher that came back in the Blake Snell trade. He goes 2 2/3, doesn't allow a run, doesn't allow a hit, 3 strikeouts. Good for Luis Patino and the Rays. What to watch for? We're going to take a look first at the Reds. They're still on that 7-game losing streak. Will they turn it around? They have to face the Dodgers this week and the Cubs, so keep an eye on them. Will they be able to turn it around against 2 tough teams? Speaking of the Cubs and the Braves have a series. Both teams trying to kind of turn it around, get back in the division race. The Cubs trending upward a bit after sweeping the Mets. The Braves trying to get more than 1 hit in 2 games after a tough doubleheader against the Diamondbacks. So look out for that series. And in the American League, the Twins and the Indians also play a series. They're both trying to make up ground, but they're both behind the Royals and the White Sox. So can they make it back in the division race there? And finally, the highlight reel. Let's start off back to the Mariners-Dodgers game. Evan White with this crazy catch behind first base. That is not an easy play. Another great catch in that game. Andrew Young hits a game-tying home run. The Diamondbacks would go on to win that game after that. So Andrew Knapp for the Phillies walk-off single puts them over the top. Jacoby Jones makes a great running catch out there in center field to rob the batter of a hit. Jason Hayward had a walk-off pinch hit single to put the Cubs over the Mets. Of course, they would go on to sweep that series. The next day, Javi Baez with the smooth double play. We've seen him make a couple of questionable plays on the field, but that is not one of them. I'm sure you guys have all seen balls get stuck in the roof of Tropicana Field, but Randy Arozarena makes a great play on this one to save the Rays from utter embarrassment. A fan robbed Cole Calhoun of making this catch out in foul territory against the Braves here. So fan goes up, makes the catch. Calhoun just kind of looks at him and then gives him the fist bump. So cool moment there for that fan and Cole Calhoun. The Rockies walked off against the Phillies. Tapia with the walk-off home run puts the Rockies over the Phillies. Manny Machado against the Dodgers here had this great leaping grab. He was getting booed all series long. This is probably one of the reasons why robs the Dodgers of a run and a hit there. A couple White Sox highlights for you. Billy Hamilton out in left field with the White Sox up 1, cuts down Willie Calhoun at the plate to keep the White Sox in the lead. The Rangers will go on to tie it later on a Willie Calhoun home run before Nick Madrigal lines the shot to right field over the head of Joey Gallo to win it for the White Sox. Francisco Lindor has been impressing in the field this season. He gets his leaping grab here. Hasn't been great at the plate, but in the field he has been solid. And then later in the game, Albert Almora out in center field robs his former teammate Kyle Schwarber of a couple RBIs here with this running, leaping grab. Great catch there from Albert Almora. And finally, Zach Gallen threw a 7-inning complete game, allowed just one hit. This would have been the second one had it not been for Nick Heath's diving catch out there in center field. That is going to do it, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in each week. I'm having a lot of fun making these. It kind of keeps me up to date, keeps me following baseball. Hopefully it keeps you guys informed. If there's anything that I missed, leave it below. Any games, any highlights, anything at all that I missed, leave it below. But that is going to do it. If you have any questions for me, also leave that below, and I will see you guys next Monday.